Welcome to the Everything is Final Fantasy podcast. I'm Drew Kreisman.
And I'm Ira Kreisman.
And on this episode, we continue and perhaps conclude, we'll see, it might take 2 episodes, our conversation on Final Fantasy VIII. When last we left our heroes, Laguna had given an inspiring speech to the team, letting them know, love, hope, courage, and the friends you made along the way. That is the key in a Final Fantasy game. And we all went, yeah, we know.
Yeah, excellent.
For sure. So what
Thanks,
are we going
boss.
to do? Well, we're going to fly our giant dragon into that spaceship thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to fight a sorceress. And we're going to use that sorceress's power to do something with our friend, who is also a sorceress, who has her power. And our other friend, who is kind of like a sorceress, but really more of a magical time traveler. And we're going to do this other thing called time compression, where we can fight a sorceress from the future, and then the bad stuff will hopefully stop happening.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Right?
I get it.
Nailed it? Correct?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So this cutscene that we get to enter the final dungeon is pretty rad, where, as I said, the dragon-shaped airship called Ragnarok. First, you're firing the guns, and Selphie and Irvin are doing the Star Trek stuff. It's shields at this percent, and woohoo, we're getting she's fire the
She's
big
really
guns.
excited.
Yeah,
Selphie is loving this.
you just straight in through some kind of weird orangish force field shield.
Yeah,
It's-
it slows our Ragnarok way down, but
Yeah.
it's able to push through. And then once it gets through the energy shield, it lights up its cannons again and blasts a hole in the wall. It's pretty great.
And then there's this really incredible visual sequence, and this is in the CGI graphics, right, where we see from inside the ship, and the way the front arms or claws of Ragnarok sort of lunge out in front of him and claw him. I guess I've genderized the the airship or whatever, but and personified it as well. But it's a remarkable visual, and it's all right, well, that's one way to enter the final dungeon.
It's really cool looking, and it's the only time it happens, and it's one of those neat details that does not matter, but I love it anyway.
Yeah, kind of I guess the school can fly. It's I guess the airship can do that.
It is. We've called it a dragon air. It's in the shape of a dragon. In fact, when it's pushing through that shield, you can clearly see the dragon face, the dragon head.
Right.
And it's got yellow eyes. Whoever built this clearly intended it to look like a dragon and decided, if I'm going to make it look like a dragon, it may as well have usable claws also. I mean, why not?
Sure.
That's why Laguna has always wanted to ride this airship. Much like Aerith in Final Fantasy VII always wanted to ride the High Wind.
Right.
Aerith and Laguna are basically the same.
Love it. I'm here for it. Somebody on Blue Sky the other day told me that Genova and Lavos are the same creature. And
right.
Oh, I love that so
I love
much.
that. Or at least parts of the same. They're the same kind. They're an invasive, parasitic creature. And that's that I think that's important, because one of the things Final Fantasy does is we don't dislike other people because they look different.
Right.
We are friends with the elves and dwarves in Final Fantasy I. We rescue Nanaki, even though he has a code name and is a lion dog person, lab rat dog.
Yeah, right.
That's not how we discriminate good and bad. How we do that is who is taking advantage of.
Right.
Who is being parasitic. Because you can work in concert also, right? If Lavos had come to that world and been symbiotic instead of parasitic, I don't think we would have decided that we needed to fight it.
Sure.
Same with
the
Genova.
Ancients try to work with Genova. At first, they feel like it is symbiotic, right? They're fooled. They are much like Sauron, deceived. Another sort of... And Sauron is kind of an alien... is sort of a fallen angel or whatever, but a similar thing of not a being of this world who poisons the land and the people, and as that kind of thing going on, right? Ugh.
And in that same way, we've got Ultimecia now from the future trying to collapse everything else.
Right.
Only me and my world.
But before we can tackle ancient and or futuristic witches.
Right.
We've got to deal with the school bullies. What is this game? I do love this. And I was thinking earlier as I was kind of going through this, like maybe I would take this out. Maybe I would have the conclusion of this story happen not inside Lunatic Pandora. It almost feels like we're gearing up for all this epicness. And then really Raijin and Fujin and then ultimately Cypher show up.
Right.
But
yeah,
thematically, there is a pretty amazing thing that gets to happen here.
Yes. I will say that for the D plot, like Cypher's not the D plot, but Fujin and Raijin are.
Sure.
And we just got a scene where Squall said to Laguna, I thought you were a moron, but I appreciated your rapport with your friends.
Right.
And I feel like Fujin and Raijin are kind of dorks.
Yeah.
But I appreciate their rapport with their friend.
Right.
And what they do here, first they like, oh no, we're gonna fight you, and we have a fight with them. Yes,
because it's
fine.
an RPG. Sure.
Yeah, we've been having fights with you all game.
Right.
Well, I won't say it yet, but when we get to what they are about to do, I think that's important. So I agree, it's kind of odd, but I do think it ultimately makes sense, and I would keep it this way, I think.
Yeah, no, I came to that conclusion as well. So, like you said, there's a little bit of a back and forth here, but there's not much to it. Fujin continues her, one word sentence speaking and all of that, and Raijin is getting kind of flustered about the whole thing, but they decide to fight you, and then Cypher shows up because, of course, he does. He knows how to ruin a good time. Or a bad time. Whatever kind of time we're having here.
So we beat them and they run away and we follow. And I kind of feel like they wanted us to chase them because they want to lead us to Cypher. And we see Cypher and they've got Alone. And remember, step one is rescue Alone. So Fujin and Raijin turn on Cypher. He's standing up a little higher and his coat is all in tatters, which I think is a nice detail.
Yeah.
He is still, the sorceress is my princess, I am her knight. He's still being influenced, and they say to him, hey man, we are here for you, but you are being manipulated. You are not yourself. So they give us Alone, and they turn and leave. And now we are having an RPG combat with Cypher.
Right. I do appreciate that Fujin pulls Silent Bob.
Yeah.
In that moment. One word sentences the whole game, and then one big long, you're being a giant dick, man.
Yeah.
Speech. It's great.
And I like that they say, we want to help you fulfill your dreams, but you have lost your dreams because of the manipulation from the sorceress.
Right.
All right. So we fight Cypher, and if you have Odin, you summon Odin. It's like, oh, we're going to get a Odin one-shot kill on a boss fight, but no. And this is, I will say, bad-ass.
Yeah, another thing that isn't really fully explained, and maybe you've even got to know deeper Final Fantasy lore for it to make any kind of sense, but
it's incredible.
Yeah, who cares? It's awesome.
So Odin charges Cypher as he charges every enemy he ever has. And we get the slashing metal sound, and it goes white. But instead of Cypher being cut in two, Odin is cut in two. Cypher defeats Odin.
Gasp.
Holy shit.
Gasp.
My God.
Mega gasp.
So Odin's sword, Zentetsuken, spins off into the sky, and it seems to cut the sky open. And somebody grabs the sword.
Did you think about Final Fantasy 16 when watching this again?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So you do your fight for a while, and then Gilgamesh appears. Gilgamesh lands, and he talks about where is the dimensional interval, because we're about to do all this weird space-time stuff anyway. I think the only reason Gilgamesh is able to appear here is because he has become a dimensional traveler since Final Fantasy V, right? And he took on the name Siegfried, I think, in Final Fantasy VI. And now here he is, and he will be in World of, and anyway. And then Gilgamesh defeats Cypher with Odin's Zantetsuken, which is great.
Right. And says some nonsense about dimensional interval. And
right.
And is no more explained than that. And
yeah. There you go.
WTF and also OMG.
Yeah. Super cool.
It's pretty rad. And then this thing happens that always pisses me off in an RPG. After I win the fight, the bad guy just hops up and steals the girl anyway, or does whatever, just still does the bad thing. Happens a lot in Unicorn Overlord, by the way. It's like, come on, I just won.
Oh, good.
But it's just you beat Cypher in the fight, but then he's still able to kidnap Rinoa and drag her deeper into lunatic Pandora, and the team must give chase.
I've gotten my notes here in parentheses. Why does she not just kick his ass?
Right.
We are way more powerful.
Right.
I mean, I guess he did just defeat Odin in a...
Fair enough, but...
one-on-one duel, but yeah.
Yeah, if we were Dragon Ball Z fans, the power levels here would be very confusing and inconsistent, and we would have a problem with it. This is another thing that's kind of funny. As much as Cypher kidnaps Rinoa and takes her to Adele, it's like, this is kind of what we were going to do anyway.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of part of the plan.
So on the one hand, he's being a giant jerk about it. On the other hand, he basically leads us straight to her. And she's in her golden, mechanical, magical chamber of weird Final Fantasy VIII stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I think she is meant to have junctioned with Rinoa, but Rinoa ends up fused to Adele's chest and she almost looks like she's crucified.
Yeah.
She's got her arms out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable looking.
It is. It is a striking image. It's one that as it popped up, I went, oh yeah, that I definitely remember this. It'll stick in your brain once you've seen it. It is unsettling, that is for sure.
And even though Adele is not our final boss, she does have some very final boss-like hallmarks. She's summoning meteors. There's lots of space themes. But we are able to defeat her and free Rinoa. So that's step 2, right? Step 1 was rescue alone. Step 2 was kill Adele.
Yep, so far so good.
And now that Rinoa is free, she's looking a little wobbly, and then she strikes what I think of as a sorceress pose.
Yeah.
It's very confident, arms down and out. And Laguna and Alone arrive. They run up from behind, and now's your chance, Alone. And so we're doing step 3, send Ultimecia back in time. Because I think we can assume from the way Alone was standing that Ultimecia has possessed her rather than Adele.
Right.
So Rinoa collapses, and then Laguna says, all right, now bring back just Rinoa. And she does. And Rinoa stands up and said, I was in Adele's memories, which is the options were Adele or Adia, up to you. And she chose Adele, which is exactly what we wanted. So now the younger Adele from years in the past has been possessed by Ultimecia. And so Ultimecia is far enough back and far enough in the future that she can do time compression.
Yeah. I follow. Don't worry.
And this is where things get weird, Drew, because...
now. Starting now. Uh-huh.
Alone and Laguna run away, and then everything melts.
Yeah.
And it sort of just... The entire screen, the entire scene, the room sort of melts together into droplets and drips, I guess.
Sort of a weird little poop, isn't it? And a weird little reality poop. It's so bizarre. The whole screen starts to warble. We actually just watched that Next Gen episode where they come into contact with the two-dimensional people.
Oh, wild.
And there was something about the way the camera turns as everything's going warbly. And then for a minute, it's like we're parallel with reality. Like what it really does is allow the screen to go black and allow us to have this weird change and edit. And then you were talking about the drip. I called it a poop. But it's once what we were in has turned parallel, two-dimensional to the screen. It goes black for a second, and then the camera starts to move down as though what had just been our reality is now a two-dimensional sky or ceiling. And then it starts to rain droplets of untethered reality.
That's almost my notes exactly.
Really?
Yeah, our heroes are skydiving among droplets of reality.
Right. Like, what in the world is this?
Right. And then suddenly we're underwater, and there are all these schools of fish.
Yeah.
And they're worried about losing each other. And then we splash outside the other end of the ocean. So now we've launched from the ocean through the surface of the ocean and back into the sky, and there's all these flocks of birds.
Right.
And it become a tunnel of some kind, which becomes a tunnel of light and darkness.
Sort of a Chrono Trigger wormhole.
Yeah.
That appears out of the birds.
Mm-hmm.
It's so...
Chrono Trigger's seagulls.
It also reminded... Right, totally. It also reminded me a little bit of like Doctor Strange or some of the multiverse stuff where they're traveling through, like accidentally just bumping through different dimensions or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. And in those droplets of reality, by the way, if you like pause and look, you'll see other scenes from the game.
Right.
There's, pictures of Squall, Cypher, and Quistis from earlier on. There's that room that we're actually going to kind of see another representation of here in a minute from Galbadia. And it's like, man, this is... Oh, it's so cool and weird.
And eventually we land. We land in a hallway, and I'm pretty sure this is meant to be the same big room that Adia was sitting in when Renoa tried to confront her back in Delling City.
Exactly.
And it's all kind of faded and gauzy. There are curtains hanging there, and there's a save point. So when you see a save point in an RPG, you go to it.
Go to the save point.
But when you do, it suddenly replicates a dozen times. And so there's a bunch of save points. So now this game mechanic has suddenly become a real thing in this world.
Yeah.
In this weird, warped world.
Yeah.
Wild. I love it.
Yeah. Using the mechanics of the game to screw with you, the player, as well as somehow the characters inside the game is really, really cool. And another striking image. You're like, oh, it's just unsettling when something you've been engaging with in a very simple way for 40 or 50 or 60 hours of gameplay suddenly doesn't do what it's supposed to.
Right. And we're getting that weird future music. It actually really reminds me of the music from the moon in Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I meant to say that last episode, and I cannot remember if I did. Yeah. So I love that we get this weird, quirky future space music.
We'll talk about it more in the episode, but it's really starting from when they jump back here, when they start doing all this. This is the best part of Final Fantasy VIII to me. And the music and all of it is masterpiece genius. The final 6, 7, 8 tracks on this OST are all mind-numbingly brilliant, and they almost have to be to accompany, whatever it is we're witnessing and experiencing here.
So we're reliving that scene where Adia is sitting in the chair facing away from us, facing away from Renoa. And she stands up and she turns to look at us and she splits, and then she splits again. So we've got 4 images of Adia.
Right, like the save point.
Yeah, and so they all approach. But then when we fight, it's clearly not Adia.
Right.
I think it's got sorceress in quotes when you target her.
Right.
And there's a couple different character designs here that are really weird and interesting, sort of princess clothes, but crossed with clown clothes. More intimidating than either of those might sound.
Yeah, no, for sure. It gets real creepy and weird and evolves several times. And I sort of interpreted it as being either other sorceresses from the past or representations of other sorceresses from the past. You also appear to be time traveling during the fight, like the background keeps changing, right?
And melting. I was distinctly saw timber, but all the buildings were squished over.
Yeah. Yeah. I say it again, it's so cool. For all the times, we nitpicked at some of the things in this game that didn't work, I get to geek out over how rad all of this is now.
And then the fight ends abruptly, and we're outside of Adia's house. And you can go in through the house and out to the beach, and it's kind of weirdly grayscale.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we're overlaid with another reality, and Squall says, "Oh, these are future seeds. We're all fighting at once." Something along those lines. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish there was more about about that.
Yeah.
So we're still going to have this fight in the future. That's kind of a bummer. I was hoping we could end things here.
Sure.
Or maybe they're potential seeds from a potential future. I don't know, but
right.
It's a cool idea that doesn't get a lot of expansion here.
Right.
And then we get a cool FMV. Do we still call them FMVs?
Sure.
Whatever.
We did back then. So.
Yeah. It's of a scary looking castle with big wings and the moon's in the background. Remember, the moon is very important to this game, and there are gargoyles. Some of which look kind of like the gargoyle that almost killed Renoa that one time when Adia summoned it. And there's these giant chains holding this floating island castle thing in place. And I'm immediately reminded of World of Final Fantasy when you've got to climb up the chains.
The giant chains,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely got Castlevania vibes. Anytime I see a giant gothic castle with the moon right behind it like that, I do think of Castlevania. But, man, it's so, it's got its own thing going on. And those giant chains sure are something.
Yeah. And then the organ music starts, and you climb up the chains, and there's this cool windy staircase up to some very tall doors. And once you go in the castle, you get 2 parties, Drew.
Yeah.
2 parties. Hey. All the characters.
Not quite the end of Final Fantasy VI, but close.
Yeah.
I do love it when they do this. We've talked about it a lot, but I love it.
And there's a neat game mechanic where most of your powers are sealed off, and you got to defeat all the various bosses to unseal your powers before you get to the final boss.
Right.
And it's a cool big castle, and there's a giant collapsing chandelier, and there's a whole puzzle with some paintings. There's a clock tower with a big pendulum. You get to run across the clock face.
Sure.
Just like in Castle of Cagliostro.
Sure.
Too much alliteration.
That was a hell of a sentence. I'm going to type that one down. Run across the clock face, just like in Castle of Cagliostro. Got it. Nailed it.
There's a sort of mausoleum place where it almost looks like Vincent's coffins, but there's a Catoblepus in there. Catoblepus.
Sure.
Which is cool.
There's so much stuff in this castle. I really wish we could do it justice somehow on a podcast describing all of it. It's funny to say that it looks like what it is, which is a castle from all different kinds of time zones, right? It's got different things. Like as you're going up those giant chains to get to the castle, there are these weird, like, smooth portals with glowing lights that look more like they're alien machines from the future. So on top of things that you might expect in a gothic ancient castle, you've also got these touches of futuristic machines, and it's just the weirdest, coolest thing. It's one of my favorite dungeons in all of Final Fantasy. The music does a lot of that work too. I don't love the puzzles. They're a little.
It's maybe a little much.
Yeah.
But it's not the most annoying final dungeon.
No.
That might be the Crystal Tower from 3.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So I like it. I kind of just wish. I almost wish we committed more to it.
Yeah.
And so I got more, like it meant more to me. It's really cool and creepy, and I love that. And like we talked about last episode, this game is already 4 discs long.
Sure.
How much time and memory do we have?
Yeah. Well, we're remaking it one day, so.
Yeah, you and me.
Yeah.
We'll let them know.
Yeah.
We finally get into the last chamber with Ultimecia, and it starts by showing us a red star in the background.
Hey, Lavos confirmed.
Yeah, absolutely. Or what was it called in 16? Oh, the messenger, right?
Yeah.
We're bad nerds.
That's bad. I can't believe I blanked on that one.
We'll come with it. As you're editing, pop in here and let us know.
I'll. Hello from the future. The fact that I could not come up with Metia is going to haunt me for the rest of my days. Back to the show.
And then we swoop around, and we've got Ultimecia on her throne, and it's on a raised dais, not unlike the throne of the Lucii in Final Fantasy 15.
Sure.
She's got wings. Remember, we've seen shadows of wings. We've seen images of wings behind Rinoa and Adia. But she's got wings, and she's got long silvery hair, and she's got some of her silvery hair is done up into horns on her head.
Yeah.
She's wearing this red dress. She's very, very intimidating, but in a different way than Adele.
Yeah. Yeah, she's also kind of pretty. Is it okay? Like, there's a...
Yeah.
People actually really like to cosplay sometimes as Ultimecia. And, like, she shows up in Dissidia and stuff, which I've always thought was interesting because she's barely in this game, really. This is the only time we actually see her.
Her influence is all over the game.
Sure. Cloud of Darkness
beginning to
style,
end.
or maybe more Necron, or I don't know. Well, those are other conversations for other times. On the wings, this is our third straight final boss in a Final Fantasy game with wings, which is another interesting thing they like to do, the sort of fallen angel thing a bit for Kefka and Sephiroth. I don't know if Sorceress Ultimecia is supposed to be a fallen angel, but maybe there's more to that in the lore, which is maybe a good way to hint to say we are going to try to get through to the end credits here, but we are going to do one more episode where we try to dive into the deeper lore of this game as best we can. So maybe that's the best we do there. We defeat the evil bad guy because we're great Final Fantasy characters. Hooray, we win the day. Game over, right?
Well, we do need to mention real quick
that
she summons and then junctions with Griever. Griever is a winged lion man with horns, but
maybe
he's a little more than that. Maybe
he's a lion?
Maybe Squall is the lion. Because there's a point where when Rinoa asks Squall about the lion on his ring, you have to name the lion. And the default name is Griever.
And so, without a ton of explanation, I guess Ultimecia here is like personifying a symbol of comfort and strength for Squall. This ring, this Griever, and turning it into a monster he now has to fight, which I suppose is symbolic of like literally fighting your inner demons or facing your strengths and weaknesses to, whatever all of this is about, right? What was that stuff Laguna said?
Friendship, love, courage.
It's probably about one of those things.
Okay, all right. And it looks really cool, and I do like the idea that in a way you've been carrying part of the final boss with you the whole time, because like we just said, her influence looms over everything that happens in this game, and we're gonna get a little more of that here in a minute.
Yeah.
But when you defeat the Griever Ultimecia fusion, we get one more. We get the final form.
Right.
We get the Phythos Luxec song all warped, and then it is I am Ultimecia.
I have a face.
She looks kind of like a parasitic villain alien thing that we've fought before.
Right.
In place of her face, it's this bright kind of strobing light. Yeah. She's got these long, expansive red skirts, and then at some point during the fight, there's a reflection of her hanging beneath, not unlike Seymour's mother.
Yeah, Anima. Yeah, I thought of that too.
Unlike Anima.
Yeah, same thing. I thought the same.
And she looks all bound and scarred, and the reflective or the hanging piece is much more human looking than the piece that appears to be controlling things now.
Right.
And if characters are defeated during this fight, there's these flashing lights, and they are absorbed into time.
Yeah.
And Ultimecia says, to you or to me or to Squall, reflect on your childhood, your sensation, your words, your emotions. Time, it will not wait. No matter how hard you hold on, it escapes you. And then Squall is able to summon a massive pillar of light, and if it zooms out and you can see it from space, and he hits her with it, and her face explodes into light, and there's the screen sort of fuzzes. Because remember, we've got all this technology issues going on, right? Where radio waves don't work the way they should, and so a fuzzy screen and warped sound is part of that theme. Yeah. But like you said, we've defeated the final boss, so now we're going to get one of the greatest end scenes of all time, and it is only going to get a little weirder.
He's lying. It's going to get a lot weirder. But this is truly incredible, and it's one of those things that I still sometimes can't believe exist, and makes me happy that Final Fantasy is a thing. So we begin with something we've seen this maybe. I'm sure there were times it would happen in Final Fantasy VII. It happens in games. It's happened in shows and movies or whatever, right? Where you just have a white screen and a character appears on it. Oddly enough, the first character we see is Irvin.
Yeah.
Why not? But as he moves a little bit, right, it's like fuzzy, or he's leaving after images of himself.
Yeah.
Right? Just kind of moving around, and we don't have any voice acting in these games, but I would imagine his voice is either echoing or maybe really dampened, or it would be unusual. Say, is it over? Let's go. Let's go back to our time. And then Selphie pops on screen. And again, there's no environment. It's just a white background, and they're like off kilter from each other. It doesn't look like they're on the same plane.
Right.
And she says, shut up. Just calm down and think where we have to go. And then Zell kind of floats into the picture, right? In a very Zell-like fashion.
Running in slow motion, kind of?
Yeah. Sort of running, floating through the middle. Going, careful, guys. Don't pick the wrong time. And then we get a bit of Quistis saying, don't fall into a time warp. Like, okay. Good.
Yeah, good safety tip.
Yeah, seriously. So they all kind of run and or float off of the screen, and then we just have Rinoa. She's saying time, place, who I want to be with. I want to go there, where Squall and I promised. Squall!
Yeah, the promise.
Promise. And then our white screen of Purgatory goes black.
Yeah.
And in the blackness, we see Squall alone.
So all the others are in the white void, and he is the only one, like you said, alone in the black void. Oh. Poor Squall. He's worked so hard, even when he didn't mean to
right.
To make friends and become part of a group, and now he's alone.
And we do hear Rinoa's voice, which I assume means he can hear Rinoa's voice. She says, Squall, let's go home. Where are you? And Squall, as he often does throughout this story, thinks to himself, Where am I? So as he sort of gets up, a child runs in, and if you remember from flashbacks earlier in the game, you recognize this as the child version of Squall. And this child version of Squall says, I'm going to find Sis, because remember, that's what he was always going on and on about. Sis had left him at the orphanage.
Yeah. And we know now that she did not leave him, but rather the Kramers thought in order to protect her that she had to go.
And so our purgatory begins to take shape, and it's the Lighthouse Orphanage, but from the past, and you can see all the greenery.
Yeah, it's a very pretty place.
And Edea, but matron, with her long, straight black hair and her simple gray dress, not all the, stuff.
not the sorceress getup.
And she says, excuse me, have you seen a little boy? And I really love that Squall has shaken the whole where am I, what's going on, that he seems to immediately get it. He knows exactly where he is and the little boy that she's looking for. And so he just says, you don't have to worry. The boy won't go anywhere. She says, I think so too, poor thing. And we've got, very calm, very sweet music here, or maybe no music at all for this particular moment. And so there's a really interesting tonal thing here where like a portal appears in the back and suddenly Ultimecia is there. And you're like, wait, what? Phase 10,
Right. What was the next step?
And he's like, what? Squall's having it. You're alive? And Adia says, oh, the sorceress. And Squall's like, yeah, we just defeated her. And she says, it's okay. There's no more need to fight. That sorceress is just looking for someone to pass her powers on to. In order to die in peace, a sorceress must be free of all of her powers. I know, for I am one too. I shall take that sorceress's power. I don't want one of the children to become one.
Yeah, so she's protecting alone. And we got this story from her. This is it's the bootstrap paradox. Right. Well, and in fact, we're going to get another version of it here in a minute. But essentially, Matron, Adia, is the one who defeats Ultimecia, even though she's the one who starts the events in this time, in modern current time.
Right.
By defeating, essentially, Ultimecia. And I appreciate that she's very gentle with Ultimecia here, but I absolutely promise you, she is not here looking for someone to take on her power. She has no gentle thoughts here.
Right.
And I also like that we're finally getting an answer to what does it mean to take on the powers of a sorceress. I do kind of wish we'd gotten it earlier, but it's not a bad reveal here.
Yeah. I think you could have very easily told us that bit of lore earlier and still had us go, aha, with the closed loop here.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And we get another closed loop here and it's that kind of interesting thing where you go back in time and plant the seed of an idea, eh?
Yeah. So the idea comes from nowhere, really.
I guess so, because, Squall is already a seed, and so he tells Matron, that's what I am. And she goes, oh, what an interesting idea. Gardens train seeds to defeat sorceresses. I should set that up. So she got the idea from her own protege?
Right. Who got the idea from her, or who was trained in it by her and her husband.
Sure. And so, although it's a little bit wonky and it makes you wonder if it makes any sense, or rather, if therefore everything in the story was inevitable, which sometimes makes me feel a kind of icky sort of way, but for whatever reason, I'm fine with this one.
They do a lot of work. Well, and it's the 2,000-year time loop again.
Yeah.
We talked about, do the Warriors of the Light deserve praise for what they did? And even though it may have been preordained, part of it, at least getting to the confrontation was preordained, the outcome was not.
Right.
They might not have defeated Sorceress Ultimecia. In fact, in my playthrough, they didn't the first few times.
Right.
And so the fact that they have to put in the work to make it happen, I think means that there is still agency there, and they do still deserve praise, the Warriors of Light from Final Fantasy I, or the Seeds of Light here in Final Fantasy VIII.
Sure. No, I love that. I love that interpretation. So Adia tells Squall to return. He does not belong here. And then little Squall runs back out and says again, I can't find Sis. Am I all alone?
Oh.
Am I all alone?
No.
Who's this guy? Hey, matron, who's this guy?
Oh.
And she says, nobody. You don't need to know. The only Squall permitted here is you. Which is a little much of a giveaway, but sure.
Yeah, but not to a little kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I also love that Squall meets a past version of himself and a past version of his father, but never really not for real. It's like this weird way of interacting with these things, which I think is really great. And then Adia says, do you know where you'll go back to? And do you know how? Are you going to be all right by yourself? And then Squall salutes her and thinks
he salutes
her. He gives her the seed salute, which is like, oh man.
Yeah.
And thinks to himself the classic Final Fantasy line. The spoilers for Advent Children. The final line of Advent Children.
Uh-huh. And spoilers for Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah, right. Exactly. He thinks to himself, I'll be all right. Because I'm not alone.
Yes. Excellent.
Oh. And then the screen fades to black and he's still in his purgatory.
Yeah, and we get sort of a weird TV distortion image. It's like, you remember Mario 64?
I do.
And how Mario's face would be on the screen, and after a while you could like grab it and stretch his features.
Yeah.
This, I think, parallels that. I don't know which reminds me of the other, but that's what I thought of seeing it most recently.
Yeah.
Which shows my age.
Sure.
That
right.
among other things.
It's super bizarre and weird and awesome and cool and different. So Squall is like thinking a nervous breakdown to himself in his totally black purgatory.
Uh-huh.
And the camera begins to zoom out. And then we go to an FMV CGI cutscene with cool weird graphics. And like you mentioned, his face getting all stretched around and the camera freaking out and weird noises and no music for a minute. And as the camera sort of pans out, you see he's just standing in a barren desert. Absolutely nothing anywhere nearby. And he just, after a fashion, begins to get up and walk, and again, weirdness happening all around him with the camera and the random sounds here and there. I'll talk about the music that eventually comes in some other time. I feel like I could almost write a book about this piece of music. This is a great piece. It's telling the story because, like you said, this is a silent movie. Yeah,
and so it's helping to tell that story.
And you know, it stays on him just kind of wandering around nothingness for what I would call an uncomfortable amount of time.
Uh-huh. Like Renoa drifting through space.
Yeah, a lot like that scene. And then it's, you know, one of those, it feels like he's been walking forever in one direction, then he gets to a cliff to nothingness and turns and looks back around, and there's not even that far to the other end. And it's, you know, you're just like, what even the hell? Purgatory, man, seems rough.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't want to do that.
So as Squall is growing increasingly frustrated with his purgatory, we cut to Renoa running through her own.
Yeah.
Dark skies, she looks scared, and she's just running.
And I think it's important to note that Squall's purgatory has a dry, cracked ground, but hers does have grass and flowers.
Right. And then at one point she grasps at the ring, Squall's ring that Zell gave her, that she's wearing as a necklace. And she looks up at the sky. And it's like that scene from that Little Mouse movie, with looking at the same sky.
Yes.
Song. It makes me cry every time. But then then we cut back and Squall looks up at the sky. And it's just like at the very beginning of the game, the intro, where the feather becomes the sword, but this time it stays a feather. A single feather falls from the sky with light in it. The only thing that has light in Squall's world at this moment. And it falls down into his hand, and he catches it, and then he closes his hand. And there's a bright flash of light. And then a bright flash of wings, like golden wings.
Oh, I love it.
The wings from the back of Renoa's like cape thing that she wears. Mm-hmm. And then we cut to Renoa. And from that, because it's, you know, she's now imposed, or she's in front of the wings, and her sky is turned bright gold. We cut back to Squall, and so is his, and he's behind her, and he's shouting, but there's no sound. There's no sound at all. Again, it's that silent movie thing where he can see her now. There's a bright golden sky all of a sudden, and there's Renoa in the distance, and we have no idea what he's shouting. There's no words at the bottom of the screen. We don't get anything. We just get the sense. Maybe he's not making any sound. Presumably, he's trying to call out Renoa. Renoa. And then she turns to see him. But as she does, her body just goes totally blurry and warbly. It's kind of like she's out of focus. And then there's a flash of sound, and for a brief moment we see Cypher's face in the fire next to Adia. But then we don't have time to process that. We are back at Balam Garden at the dance scene. And this just gives me chills every single time. This is so... I don't even know what the word is for it. Unusually, beautifully disturbing.
I will say that this scene, parts of this scene, are a very specific fear of mine manifest.
Yeah.
We've talked before about memory, and my memory is pretty decent most of the time, but particulars do get lost.
Yeah.
And for the people who matter most to me, I have been very careful about doing what I can to hang on to those details. Our father being foremost amongst them. Right. Certain families, certain friends, and I'll get into that more later, but important people, places, or things becoming vague impressions, becoming blurry.
Yeah.
Like if I felt like I could not remember what Dad's voice sounded like,
right,
I would be very upset.
Right.
And so this is, and I don't think it started with this game, but certainly this game put it into words, put it into images that resonate deeply with me. And if for no other reason, I love this game.
Yeah. Right. Where he's reaching for, again, this is my interpretation. There might be others. This is, I think, what we are being told visually with no words whatsoever. Squall is reaching for a precious memory. When he first met this girl, and it just shook him to his core. And it was such a striking image. She turns to the camera, she puts out her finger in that unusual but memorable gesture and begins to walk toward him, which is toward the camera. And we get that, but with it turning fuzzy, her more in focus, more out of focus. The people in the background are appearing and disappearing. Like you said, he's gaining and losing different details at different times. She's mostly there, then she's not. She starts to walk toward him. She starts to walk through him. It's a different version of her for a moment, and she's kind of tilting her head at him. Maybe now her expression was more indifferent or angry. Maybe now it's happy. Maybe, and then he sees her in space for a minute. And you're just like...
Right. Oh, and her faceplate explodes.
Yeah.
Which did not happen. So that's, and the rings on her necklace sort of burst out into space.
Right.
So it's a memory of the thing that might have happened but didn't because he took that action.
Right. There are times when it goes back to, again, it cuts back to the dance floor, and now everyone's dancing around. She's not even there.
Yeah.
Which is like, what if I'd never even met this person?
Right. What if I forgot her face? What if she had never been there?
Right. What if she Eternal Sunshined completely out of my mind entirely. One of my favorite movies, and makes me cry every time because, again, that idea of totally losing a person, no matter how difficult or tragic or whatever else may have gone, is just so heartbreaking. And Squall is just trying to hold on to her, and then she starts to disappear more and more. He's getting images from the game. Quist is shooting at people. There's a flash of each one of the other characters. There's the bit when Renoa sort of fell off the side of the garden. There's when he got impaled with the ice. And then like through a series of other images. I can't go through every single one of them. We'll be here for a while. We go back inside Ultimecia's castle, but Rinoa's doing the thing from the dance again. And it's happening faster and faster, and the camera is spinning around, and she keeps turning around and waving her finger and walking toward the camera. And it is unsettling. And it's like that weird, it's almost like she's in a negative, or like she becomes like a heat map or something. Then with the film sound that comes over it, like when you're watching a film backwards or whatever, as images are just now splashed across the screen. Like it's really unraveling here. And then her face disappears, just like Ultimecia's did. Oh no, Squall's face disappears, excuse me. Just like Ultimecia's did. Now that image is only there for like a brief moment as she's doing the iconic thing of tripping and falling into his arms, but she's also like disappearing into nothingness while that happens. And there's just that, you got to kind of pause on it, but it goes around the internet every once in a while. Like, just remember that Final Fantasy VIII was the game that gave you this. No face Squall. And then there's just a light in his eyes and a single tear runs down his face.
Yeah.
He falls to his knees. He looks up and is enveloped in white smoke. And we're left there for a decent amount of time until again that feather falls from the sky. Now, not really the sky. It's we're back in the white purgatory screen, right? Just white. Yeah. And the feather falls.
And it lands on what I tend to think of as the video game void. It's like it's a room that lands on something and it's sort of spotlighted and there's a shadow and it rocks slightly.
Right.
It almost like it's a tech demo. Look what we can do with a digital feather. Look at this animation we can do.
And then our white screen fades to black and we see dark clouds again and a kind of ambiguous ground. Okay, that's our drenched desert. And then the piano starts to come in and Rinoa walks confidently out of the gray clouds. And Eyes on Me begins to play.
Oh, God.
And she walks up to a motionless Squall lying there in his purgatory, perhaps gone from whatever we just experienced. Maybe he hasn't remembered her enough. Maybe he's lost. She kneels down and she cradles his head and strokes his face and his hair and his bomber jacket. And again, her mouth makes a little motion where you assume she said something, you don't know what. And then there's this image from behind where she's just cradling his head. And then, boom, straight into the jacket with her face. And the second her tears and her face hit him, the song kicks in, the sky opens up. There's blue everywhere. The flowers pour out. It's just one. It is one of the most beautiful things that has ever been digitized or animated. Or it is incredible.
I love it so much. The pink flower petals are everywhere. They become white feathers, or maybe vice versa. It's just beautiful and colorful and. Well, I mean, we promised, right? We promised.
Right.
So that's important.
And there's a beautiful transition where now all of the feathers are going up into the sky. They've been falling down on us, and now they go up into the sky, and we transition back to the water from the very beginning of the game. Except not exactly, because now it's at the end of a pier, and someone's out there fishing, and we have an extreme tonal shift.
I like this because they left in a bad spot and now they're pals again.
I like that too. And I do wish there was a little bit more to, am I supposed to be okay with Cypher suddenly having a fun time? Like he was just trying to end the world moments ago, but you know what?
Yeah, I mean, I think we made it pretty clear that he has been brainwashed since he was a child.
Yeah.
And so getting to be himself and be bad at fishing is okay.
I agree. And so, yeah, there's a cute little scene there where he gets mad that he can't catch anything. And throws his fishing rod down, and then Fujin has to kick Raijin into the water, and it's
Yeah.
a little slapstick humor after we just spent 15 minutes in we're all going to lose our identity, forget our best friends and our loved ones, and succumb to the darkness inside of ourselves, you know.
Right. But it is nice to know that they survived time compression.
Sure.
And we get this detail where suddenly there's a shadow and they look up and it's the garden flying overhead.
Yeah.
And Cypher, he smiles.
He smiles. He goes, you know, those are the days. Another great transition that hits me emotionally every time because I'm not ready for it. Like you mentioned, we're kind of looking up at the sky as the garden flies by and Cypher smiles at it. And then when the camera pans down from the sky, it's over the shoulder of Laguna, who's looking out into a beautiful field of golden flowers. He looks down at his hand and he sees the ring on his finger. And we get a very brief little flashback of him standing out on a similar field, or maybe this exact one, at the time when he and Rain had agreed to get married.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. Because, so it's old Laguna in his sort of schlubby polo and ponytail.
Yeah.
Looking at the wedding band. And then back in time, and it's night, and they're out in the hills of Wind Hill. And yeah, and it's Rain, and he, again, says something to her that we can't hear.
Right.
But obviously he's going to propose to her, and he like turns around and walks away, and she grabs him. He almost backs out, and she has to say, "Hang on, no, what were you saying?" And he gives her, he puts a ring on her hand.
Yeah.
And this is when, oh God.
Uh-huh. You say it, I had to do the last one.
So the line from the song here is, "Share with me your love if you have enough."
Mm-hmm.
So it's the song of Julia Hartley, Renoa's mother, and Laguna's almost partner, singing over him proposing to Rain.
Yeah.
And then I think this is an interesting parallel. She has the ring on now, and she agrees, and she holds her hand up to show him the ring, and he holds his hand up to show her the other ring, and that looks an awful lot like the seed salute.
Yeah, I noticed that too this time. Never thought of that before, but definitely had that thought this time.
And they embrace, and I wonder, is there an importance to that lost almost love singing over this realized love?
Yeah. Again, I think it's a lot of those. You know, we just with Squall saw some almosts, right? He could have lost Renoa in space,
right?
He could have lost himself in purgatory, or maybe he did. We'll get to that in a minute. But you know, so yeah, those kind of, sometimes you have the almost, and sometimes you have the tragedy, and even the Rain thing turned into a tragedy. But out of that, you know, you get your relationship with Alone, and you get Squall. You got. Laguna and Rain don't ever really get to be together, which is why it's so tragic that we see their proposal or the consummation of their love. We don't see that, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Here in the final cutscene of this game, right? Because ultimately it was that they birthed the savior of the world, as it were. But they did love each other, and Laguna loved Julia. And perhaps Rain loved other people in her life. Well, surely she did, because she had Alone.
Right, she had Alone for years. They were together. And it is tragic because it's too short. And he doesn't get to go back and be with her.
Right.
But he does get to have this memory.
Yes.
And it cuts back to current Laguna, and Alone and Kiros and Ward are there waving at him.
Yeah. Moon transition, by the way. It pans up, we see the moon.
Right.
Remember, the moon's important, and back down.
And I'm just sobbing through this whole thing.
I know. It's so beautiful. And he walks up to the grave.
And it says, Rain Laurie. And then that's it. The screen goes black. The credits roll. We get the Final Fantasy main theme.
Yeah. It is interesting that the credits start to roll after, like, the final hero shot is Laguna kneeling over Rain's grave as the garden flies off into the distance. It's a beautiful image.
Yeah.
But it actually isn't.
Yeah, but we'll get there in a second because I need to, if you'll allow it.
Yes, I will. Yeah. All right. Hey everyone, I just wanted to drop in with a quick warning that for about the next 10 minutes we are going to get pretty personal and emotional and also talk a little bit about family pets and, them passing on. So if that sounds like something a little bit too difficult for you at the moment, I would just suggest you skip ahead to about the 109 mark.
All right. Now I know that podcasting about your hobbies is already a self-indulgent practice, but I'm going to take a particular moment of personal privilege here.
Yeah.
All right. So today, the day we are recording is December 29th, 2024. And 3 days ago, on the 26th, our cat Jules died. And I'm obviously not taking it well.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take a moment and say this out loud into a microphone, as much to record my thoughts, to capture my feelings. And I promise I will tie this into Final Fantasy VIII. It was not the plan, obviously,
Sure.
but it all fits. Everything is Final Fantasy is a tagline. It's an idea, but it is also, I think, it has been such a big influence, and its philosophies have been such a big influence that I feel it now. My wife and I, we got our cat, Jules, and one of her litter mates in the summer of 2008, and we called them Jules and Vern because we are nerds. Now, if I recall correctly, you wanted to name them either Mello and Tulo for our Colorado sports fans, or Palom and Porum from Final Fantasy IV.
Correct. I was really into the Palom Porum idea.
Yeah, the trick was, as Dad pointed out, which is which,
Sure.
which is the boy and which is the girl.
Right.
So tragically, Vern did not survive that summer. We had them in this enclosure, and he got out and he got outside, and he didn't make it through that summer. And I was devastated, obviously, and we buried him out there at Mom and Dad's place. And even though we were devastated, we felt like Jules needed a brother. So we went to the local shelter and we got her a buddy who we named Isaac for Isaac Asimov, because again, we're nerds. So Jules had a blue collar for a while, and Isaac had a purple collar because mauve is a shade of purple. Again, nerds. So we had them at Mom and Dad's place for a while, but we eventually moved into that little studio place, our first place together, and we had Jules and Isaac with us. And then in 2013, after Dad died, we moved into this house I'm in now. This is the house that he and Mom and I remodeled in 2007, 2008.
Right.
So we moved in 2013, and in 2014, it was the summer of 2014. I was feeling really crummy because Dad had died not that long ago. And I hear this sound that I think is a bird outside, and I eventually go out there, and it's this tiny little kitten just screaming his little head off. And we named that kitten Mac for Anne McCaffrey. And so we were a house with 3 cats. So in 2020, Jules got real sick, and we thought she was going to die. She had a mass in her stomach, and she became diabetic, but she hung on. And we thought, okay, we cleared that hurdle. And in 2022, Isaac died, and this was January of 2022. And it was real sudden. He got an infection, and the next day we took him to the vet, and he died.
Yeah.
And now, not quite 3 years later, right? Because it's December of 2024. In next month, it will have been 3 years. Now Jules has died. And this is where we get back to those details. I don't want them to become vague impressions.
Right.
So I can still hear Isaac's claws on the wooden floor because he would walk with his little claws out for some reason.
Right.
I can still see him standing on the food container like we don't know where his food is and meowing at us.
Right.
Right. It's just been 3 days, so every white pillow or bundled blanket out of the corner of my eye looks like Jules, and I'll go into that room. That we had to separate Mac and Jules because Mac thinks Mac could play with Isaac as rough as he wanted, and Jules wasn't having it. So they didn't spend a lot of time together in the last few years, did Mac and Jules. But I can hear her pawing at the door, like, it's my turn to be out, put that little turd away.
Yeah.
Right, and see him like trying to play under the door with her.
Right.
and going into the guest room, which was largely her room, I had to throw away her litter box because it's kind of broken and we were going to replace it anyway. But God, if that didn't felt like throwing away a piece of her.
Yeah.
So every day that we have lived in this house, Isaac and Jules were with us until they weren't. So we took Jules out to Mom's place and we buried her next to Vern.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be thinking, well, that's a very sad story, but why are you talking about it at the end of Final Fantasy VIII? And it's because it's important to tell stories so that we can hang on to stories. I say it out loud into a microphone so I won't forget it later, so that their faces don't become a blur, right? So their voices remain clear.
Right.
I feel like it's really easy to hang on to memories of Dad because we were around him all the time and he had a very distinctive voice and a very distinctive look.
Yeah.
I worry it'll be harder with the cats.
Right.
I worry it'll be harder with people I know less well. And so because they were such a big part of my life, I want to write it all down and get all their little quirks written down before I forget. And I have said over and over and over again that it is important to live in the now because the now is all we will ever truly have.
Right.
But memory and stories and recordings can be important now. And it has been my experience that talking about and sharing in and preserving memories helps those memories become less painful and more soothing. And I want the memories of our father and our lost friends and my little baby kitties to be less painful and more soothing.
Yeah.
And so, Drew,
yes,
how do our heroes record this epilogue?
Well, before I get to that, I don't want to leave you out there on your own on this little emotional escapade. So I will just say that, and especially as we talk about particularly eulogizing on this show, I have my own personal Patreon page where I went and I talked about what happened with both Drogo and Shay, for similar reasons. 2 dogs we've lost in the last 2 years. Both, I feel like, frankly, unfairly and before their time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But something that, I've been going and putting a lot of our old episodes up on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so I'll re-listen to some, especially some of the old ones. I'm like, it's been 5-6 years since I've listened to this. I wonder how it holds up. Some of them not so great. Some of them I'm really proud of. But I'll hear Drogo.
Yeah. The way he would flap his head, right?
Yeah.
Shake his head.
Yeah. He'd shake his little head and that little jingle on his collar. But sometimes he'd just bark out at stuff. And, you were talking about those things. It used to be with Drogo, little Chihuahua Rat Terrier mix. Every time we would open the door, he would start yapping his little head off. And it was frankly obnoxious. And we yelled at him every time and we tried to get him to stop doing it. And then after he died and we would come home and it was quiet, that sucked.
Yeah.
It just sucked. And sometimes now I do try to remember what that was like. But when I hear it randomly on our show, because I don't remember when it's going to happen, when I hear his little bark or his little shake, it just, it actually does fill me with joy. To remember that he's there. And I've even thought that about, our show or all of our shows now that I have a son, if I were struck by lightning tomorrow, God forbid my poor wife.
Yeah,
jeez. But, that at the very least, there are hours and hours of me talking about nonsense that my son can get to know me a little bit. If that's, I'm not sure that would be the best way through the podcast, but at least he would know what my voice sounded like. Some of the things I cared about, some of my philosophies, some of what his Uncle Iroh was like, those kinds of things. And so, yeah, I mean, really, we did set up this in the early days and for the first couple of years when we only had 20 listeners. It was just so Mom and a handful of our friends could hear us eulogize this thing we like.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of grown since then, which is super rad. But you're right. Everything is Final Fantasy is about, we wouldn't be doing this if these games were just fun to us. I just played Unicorn Overlord for 125 hours.
Right.
Platinumed it. It was a lot of fun. Right. But it's not going to start making me thinking about Dad. you know?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about as I was playing, because I'm way behind you, would we do what we do with Final Fantasy with Unicorn Overlord? And there are some moments, but I don't think we would. I don't think it has hit us in the same way. I don't. Right. It's not going to make me cry the way I just did. Right. Oh God, and we're going to put this out for everyone to hear.
No, I'm publishing all of this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important, at least to us, that the stories, whether or not our cats had died recently, right? That the story makes us feel something.
Right. It connects to us, and that's really what these things are about, and why I think it's so important that Final Fantasy is what it is, and why sometimes I maybe get overly defensive at people that want to put it in a box and say, no, Final Fantasy shouldn't be like 16, it should be like Rebirth, or it shouldn't be like Rebirth, it should be like 16. And it's like, no, it has to be both of those things. It has to be all of the things. You don't do that other thing again. You do this weird junction, draw system, nonsense, time compression, whatever this is. Why? Because in the end, we get to this place. And a man leaning over the grave of a woman he loved, watching the son that they gave birth to save the world through whatever nonsense that was.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't know that any of the other Final Fantasy games do this little trick either. I love this, that as the credits are rolling, we really do get our final bit of cutscene and our final bit of story told through, as you were alluding to a bit ago, a camcorder.
Yes!
Something. It's 1998, so it's a camcorder, right?
It is. And it's probably weirdly boxy. Has a weird shape to it, right? Because all the cars in this world are weirdly boxy.
And it's funny because I'm not sure it would have been the first thing I noticed back then, but I immediately went to the battery's running low.
Look at your battery life. Come on.
Right.
So is this the same kind of festival Selphie's been trying to plan all this time?
I presumed as such, yeah, that we're finally at the festival and that Selphie has gotten to put together, and we get little bits of the gang, and first we see Selphie's face waving and smiling, Irvin dancing poorly next to Quistis, who's just awkwardly going to wave at the camera and give us a little smile.
I like that it starts on Selphie because she's the one, she's pointing it at herself first and then she turns it around. Right.
Again, they do a lot of great visual stuff. You get what's going on without being able to hear anyone's voices, though people are clearly talking to each other. We're just getting, as you mentioned, the Final Fantasy main theme. Quistis goes over and says something to Sid Kramer, who gets to be there. I guess he's holding a glass of wine or something. They're all in their fancy get-ups, having a nice post, hey, the world didn't end party.
And you know what? For all that we've given him shit, it worked.
It worked.
It worked. And he should get to celebrate too.
Right. And Idia's there, and in her matron get-up, she gets to wear her nice dress, and she doesn't have to look like a demon at the party.
Right. And she and Sid get to embrace, and how long has it been?
Right.
Oh, man.
I love that Irvin takes off his hat, and he and Quistis bow to them like there's some kind of royalty or something.
That's pretty cute.
Like they're the headmaster of the school. I love the look that Irvin gives when Selphie clearly forces him to come over and take the camera so she can hang out and be on camera. She wants to put on his hat.
Yep, she's got her hat on.
Irvin's
hat.
And
they get to she takes Irvin's hat. And then he points it at a trio of girls instead of Selphie and Quistis, which is very funny.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like he's fallen for Selphie throughout this,
so.
Right?
Yeah.
But he can't help looking at the pretty girls.
And then we get the conclusion of Zell's character arc. He finally gets a hot dog.
He gets many hot dogs. He's sitting with a girl. I don't know if that's meant to be a particular character, but there's a girl there like watching him eat hot dogs.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, every year like millions of people watch that hot dog eating contest thing. So whatever.
That's true. But he almost chokes, and they gotta slap him on the back.
Yeah.
And then he gets mad at him and he throws a hot dog at the camera.
Yes. I don't know what slapstick nonsense this is, but I'm here for it. And great aim, by the way. He hits the camera right in the lens.
Well, he's level 99, and he's probably got at least some proficiency in throwing hot dogs.
Right.
We briefly get Angelo, which I think is very important. Angelo runs across the screen.
I could have done for more Angelo, really, throughout the story. I will say that.
Yeah.
That's true of most of the doggy companions. More Interceptor, more Angelo.
Torgal gets it right, I think.
Yeah, we got a lot of Torgal.
But it could have had more Ambrosia.
Yes. But then, again, Irvin's kind of like following Selfie around, which is super cute.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And she kind of turns it around and does this, oh, look gesture, pointing, look, oh, look. And this could not be filmed. It's not filmed, Drew. This isn't a real movie. It feels like it sometimes. It really does. This could not be more perfect.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to, well, no, I'll mention the music. I can't not. It just, everything about this that happens. So, okay. Calm yourself, sir. We're almost at the end. Irvin turns the camera to the right. And the door is blocking half of us on the right. And we just see Renoa standing on the balcony. Hopefully not the same one she fell from during the fight, but maybe she is.
Maybe. We got a little nostalgia for that balcony.
Yeah. And she's kind of staring off in the distance, and her hair is blowing in the wind. And the camera's getting low, starts to flash. Yeah. And she starts to turn, and you think she's going to do her classic turn all the way toward the camera, look over at Selfie and wave. But she doesn't turn all the way toward the camera. She stops halfway through. And she does make her little gesture.
Yeah.
She wags her finger in the air. And she smiles. She kind of leans her head backward. And the camera goes out.
Oh, God.
And then the rest of the credits roll. And the game is over, right?
Well, the game is over.
Well, the game is over, right?
The story's not.
So after we get the names of these beautiful, wonderful, incredible people who made this one-of-a-kind game, there is not another game, not another story, not another anime, book. There is nothing else in the world like Final Fantasy VIII, and I will say that about it as often as I can, because, wow.
Yeah. And we've had ambiguous endings with Final Fantasy before. It would not be un-Final Fantasy to just leave it there, right? We've had a few tragic to semi-tragic endings in Final Fantasy. It would not be un-Final Fantasy to end it there. But at least this time, they're going to give us a little more.
We'll have to come back to this another time. And as much as I do think relationships in 10 and 16 might be built a little better, a little deeper, a little whatever, this is up there as among the most beautiful and romantic 10 to 15 seconds in Final Fantasy history.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
We fade back in, and it's like nighttime. There's a silver glow on the clouds below the garden. It's up above them, the starry night sky is there. The glowing lights of the garden. The camera sort of pans around it beautifully. And it comes up the side of the garden from underneath Renoa, who we see staring out at the sky. And the music is Uematsu at his absolute best. And there's nothing better than Uematsu at his absolute best. And she kind of ponders and looks, and she sees a shooting star. And then she turns and makes the gesture. And this is what we were seeing from inside before. And the camera pans over, and there he is. Squall Leonhardt looks down. And Ira, he f***ing smiles.
Yeah, he does.
He smiles at her, and he embraces her, and they hold each other, and the camera pans back, and they're lit by the moon, and the garden flies off, and they are together.
You tell him, Lachlan.
You tell him, buddy.
Oh, God.
That's it for this episode. thank you for listening, and thank you especially to all of the Final Fantasy VIII fans who were following along with us while these were being published. I really appreciate your patience. We're not quite done with Final Fantasy VIII yet, so join us next time as I put us all through the impossible task of trying to rank the top 40 pieces of music on this masterpiece of a soundtrack. Welcome to the Everything is Final Fantasy podcast. I'm Drew Kreisman.
And I'm Ira Kreisman.
And you are tired.
Oh. Was that too much? God. I can do it again. I am tired. I am very tired, and I am very sad. But
I know. So I'm going to come in.
I'll punch it up. Do it again.
Okay. All right.
You can save that if you want, but I'll do it better.
No, we'll get there. Don't worry. All right.